30 seconds to countdown.
Powering up.
Standing by for an R62. 60 seconds good. Sound is good. Stand by for the countdown.
Copy you 5-5.
5, 4, 3.
Mobile station, route and update. Afternoon, Henry.
Good afternoon and welcome. Beautiful Saturday afternoon here at Djuma Game Reserve. Welcome to our PM Safari. My name is Mark with Becky on camera and Seb is back in final control. Great afternoon. We've got the wind that we had this morning has dropped a little bit, so it's a strong breeze, I guess you could say. And we are starting up in a very interesting little spot this afternoon. I was here a couple of days ago, maybe a little bit lower down, but I'd like to maybe just look at some places over the next few days that we look at from time to time and just see how the general feel of it is changing. And a couple of days ago we were looking over the same patch of bushveld as we were when we started today. We're on Wahlberg's Nest Road. We're waiting for them to come back. Wahlberg's Eagle. And we're looking across the Mawati River up towards Central Road, and the one acacia that was in bloom was coming into bloom a few days ago that is now looks like it's in full bloom. Quite a contrast against the skyline. There's another acacia that's a lot greener than that one next to it. And the reason why we're here, one of the reasons why we're here is because one of the leopards, one of our local leopards, we hope it was one of our locals. Hold on a sec.
I'm on Zout Road. When I check Pizzicaya, Apple is heading north. It was on Rhino Catline, he said Ulpamba cruise.
My colleagues talking on the radio.
Okay, copy that. Thanks very much. Yeah, give me a shot if you follow that information. Okay, copy.
Afternoon, guys. I'm heading down to Twin Dams Road. I'm going to look for Ingwe.
Copy that. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, just to let us know where we're all going. So, lovely sights down there with flowers. But yes, during the day, probably around 11:30 or 12 o'clock or so, I believe, hearing from the staff at the lodge that one of the leopards was on the dam wall. And we're going to go and have a look around and see if we can see something. Some of you might not have been on drive this morning. I woke up this morning to find Karula's children on my doorstep. And I was very lucky enough. I was actually standing with Jess and little Sassy on the floor. Brindle Staffy outside my room just before drive to see one of Karula's children running just behind the bushes in front of my house. So they're tucked in there, which means that Karula hasn't come back to fetch them yet, which means that she might still be around. It might have been her who was on the damn wall, but it sounds more like that's Induna's MO. If there was ever a leopard that would hang around the damn wall and just pop up onto the damn wall and lie out in the open in the middle of the day, it's Induna. And Induna is Karula's son from her second litter, her previous litter of cubs. Karula, our very special leopard, killed an impala last night in the lodge. I have to say we have spent time discussing that issue last night, and we have come to the conclusion that if it's the Djuma vehicles and our camera vehicle, then we can film in the lodge, but we can't allow other vehicles to come in. It's not prudent. But also it's not good for leopard to be killing impala in the lodge. text coming? Which way you want to go?
Sure, go south along there. We're gonna reach Andrew will go that thing. We're gonna book at the thing, then I might go down.
Okay, I'll go other side of the drainage line.
Okay, because the ground is so grand,
Okay, copy. Hang on. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello, how are you? Good, thanks. Enjoy your afternoon. Let's see what we can all find together. Okay. Okay. I'll get it on the radio. Bye. I was trying to talk to Texan, was trying to talk to me while other people were trying to talk to him on the radio. So, too much going on at once. Sorry, Seb. Yeah. Hello, Carrie. Actually, I'm glad you sent an email, Carrie. Carrie Booth Carter and family. Hello. I did notice, actually. I did notice on Facebook, and forgive me for not posting a happy birthday. I'll do it later. Because your birthday lasts a few hours longer than mine does. Are you going down there? I thought you would. Happy birthday, Carrie. Sorry I was distracted. Happy birthday, Carrie. Hope we can find you something nice for your birthday. Hamakop's still here. Hello, Minerva in Kansas. I'm just looking below the wall. They're walking around down there, maybe looking for tracks. Evidently breaking up when I was talking about the decision of the lodge. Minerva, what's going to happen is if there are sightings like we had last night in the lodge, then we will be allowed to view it with the Juma vehicles, but other lodge vehicles or private vehicles are not going to be allowed to enter the lodge grounds or be in view of the lodge, which is good news. Now, this Hamakop was here this morning. There were some monitor lizards here too, but there was a little bit of sunshine. I'm playing with a lot of feathers down there. Looks like the remains of a guinea fowl. My guess it would have been owl. I don't know if he's checked whether it's a cat or an owl that plucked the feather.
Yeah, bro, I'm going to somewhere in the south. I don't think them birds. Take most of the same Can't see the convoy from the southern side of that longer hotel.
So nothing, no sign of leopard here. But we're not going to concentrate too much on things. It sounds like there are already 2 guys that are working on the tracks of that leopard, so we'll just confuse the issue if we get involved. We'll just go elsewhere. We're going to look for signs of those elephants. We had 20 elephants come to the dam earlier today. They all went south. Pegson coming. Any sign of that Zambian dog that was down in the Slovenian heading south? Copy, thanks. Okay, let's go and see if we can pick up signs. Hello, Terry in the UK. Well, there's some impala that are in a very defensive position here. They're quite deep in. Hello, Terry. Was there ever a crocodile in that water? Yes, there was. This summer we had a fairly large crocodile there, Terry. A crocodile that was actually, sorry, important info. We might be able to sort of get a glimpse of those impala through the bush. They're in a very tight formation. Part of it has got to do with the wind. Part of it has got to do with the fact that the wind makes a bit of a noise in the bush. But I think a lot of it has got to do with the fact that there's been a leopard around. The guys are on tracks further west of us that have been heading south, but it didn't cross a particular little drainage line near Chelapan. And the drainage line we're about to go into runs southwest from here to that very spot. So this leopard could have gone down the Mulwati, down the other drainage line, and come back up this drainage line. Although it will be coming down with the wind, not a good way for a leopard to hunt. But these impala are definitely, they're not spooked, they're just wary. You'll notice there's no flash of white, there are no tails flashing. It's something when we see impala on an open plain, you see the tails flicking all the time. And it's a constant reminder to each other, it's a constant visual signal to each other that they can carry on feeding, that it's all safe, and you can spread out and you can find your own bush to feed on or your own little grass patch. Now they're very tight. None of them are really selecting food. Some of them are chewing the cud. But they only get this way when conditions are a bit scary for them. Try and get us into a position to see them better. It might be worthwhile just watching for a little bit. We see impala very often, they're very common antelope, but because we see them so often, we can tune into different behavioral patterns, and this is one of those times that something is going on here. Because now they're looking at us. Times like this that you get to see the markings, the extreme markings that some animals carry, and in this case they're black tips. In some cases they're white tips or white markings, but in the case of the impala there's certain things that are used that are white and some things that are used that are black, and mostly it's the expressions that are the black markings and the alarms that are white, like the white underneath of their tail. As they start relaxing, there are a few of them starting to flick their tail and a few of them starting to feed again. When we got here, they were all very alert. Do a bit of ear scratching. But if you take a combination of all the black markings around the face, and it's maybe in times like this that they're quite evident because they keep their heads still. You can see the black tips to the ears, the black on the forehead, the black on the nose, the black of the eye. And what that is that it's a combination of the shapes that are created by the different facial expressions, ears forward, ears back, ears turned, that create almost like an unwritten body language that help each other know the direction that they're looking in, and whether there is, without being able to speak or having to speak, they can give out so much information where other herd members need to look and how concerned they need to be about it. When there are predators around, you can't be talking to everybody. It's when body language becomes so important, because you've got to be very quiet. Okay. Hello, Gail. Sorry, we didn't talk about it. I was maybe too distracted as usual. Want to know what that brown bird was at the dam? That was a hamerkop. Very small relative of the storks. It's a very expressive head because the head feathers give it the appearance of having a hammerhead shaped head, and hamerkop directly translated is hammerhead. another view of these impala actually. Didn't think we'd see them from down here. This is almost eye level with them. Oh, sorry, car's rocking on its gears. Should be fine. Hello, Mary Jane in Florida. I'm surprised actually. I was going to mention at the start of drive, and now that Mary Jane's emailed, just that East Coast, really feeling for you. I don't know what category that storm is now, but Irene is hitting North Carolina, probably the Outer Banks area of North Carolina, or Outer Banks, or are they South Carolina? North Carolina. But it's getting closer to land, that hurricane. Sure, it looks pretty strong. A lot of people are not happy about it, fearing the worst. But anyways. Hello, Mary Jane in Florida. Hope you're okay in Florida. Seems to have moved away from Florida. Sorry, I'm just looking at these impala. Quite often that prey species can help us find predators, and it might be worthwhile just sitting and watching them for a minute longer, now that we can see them better. But Mary Jane was asking how long it takes to read tracks, to learn tracks. I'm still learning. That's the whole thing. It's never it's not something that it's like learning to read, writing. Once you can string letters together, you know how to read. With tracks, it's not that simple. Reading tracks is reading a language that is ever changing and constantly new things coming in that you've never seen before, and sometimes it takes a little bit of logical deduction, or more than just seeing, observing and trying to deduce what it is that you're seeing, and often in a broader sense, not just the track that you're seeing, but the surroundings, putting things into context around the track. And it's not I guess you can perfect it at some point in life, but I'm by no means perfected reading tracks, and I'm proficient, and I do pretty well. So it's an ongoing learning process that you learn the basics fairly quickly. You can identify, say, a cat track from a dog track, or a single-hoofed animal like a zebra from a wildebeest because it's got two hooves, or the subtle difference. Eventually you get to the subtle difference between a wildebeest and a waterbuck, or an impala and a bushbuck, or a young lion and a leopard. That's the same size. But it's something you're continually learning, actually. I'm seeing a few tail flicks. There's one alarm call has just gone off. Everybody moved briefly. There's some alarming starting now. Marsha's saying a lot of them look pregnant. Did I notice that? Yes, I did, Marsha. Almost, I'd say 99% of the female impala are pregnant at the moment. Impala are one of the few animals that have a very specific and a very short breeding period. That's what we call the rutting period. I think you have the same term with deer and in Europe and North America. When the new lambs are about 6 months old and they're able to just blend in with the herd and they're not that dependent on their mothers, the females start coming into estrus again. And now, what makes impala so successful, there are a number of things that make them successful, but one of the things that makes them successful is the fact that they all come into estrus together, they all conceive together, well, within a short period of time. I mean, boy, it takes a super male to make them all conceive together. But he's still got a job to do because he's got about 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a little longer to do it in for each individual. And he's got a lot of females to impregnate. So it's a very intense breeding period, a very short breeding period that happens at the end of the summer, going into autumn. And their gestation is about 6.5 months or so. And by November, early November, sometimes late November, depends on when the rains come, is when they start lambing. You see, impala are this size animal. There are so many predators here. And for almost every predator, an impala lamb is the perfect size. Impala adults are also pretty much perfect size for most predators, but they're just those extra few predators that can take an impala lamb. We're talking about an extra eagle or two, another maybe a smaller crocodile, but the smaller cats, caracal could and serval could probably take an impala lamb. Jackal can take an impala lamb, but not an adult. So the number of predators increase with the size of the animal, and impala lambs are very, very tiny little things with little spindly legs. So there have to be a lot of them. If impala came into estrus at any time of the year and they all gave birth randomly, you'd find that as soon as there was a lamb that was being born with so many predators, something will get it. And if another one was born a few days later, something would get it. And if another one was born about a week later, something would get it. And then there'd actually be no more impala. So to be successful, nature has worked out the strategy or stratagem that they all come into estrus together, they're all pregnant together, and when lambing season comes, there's so many of them lambing that the predators kind of make a glutton of themselves and they fill up with impala lambs, and so there's always a number of them that survive because there can't be that many predators because of the biodiversity and the way the biodiversity works. There are not that many predators that can eat that many impala lambs when they are so vulnerable. And every time a herd like this, every time they get attacked by a leopard or a lion or a wild dog or a hyena or whatever it may be, those lambs get a little bit wiser on how to avoid predation. And by the time they're 6 months old, they're fairly good at it. And that's how we can get so many impala that survive, because the predators can't overwhelm them. It's like when coral underwater, when coral releases its spores, it is such a sought after little packet of protein. So many fish go after it, but the fish fill up on it quickly that there's bound to be just as many millions that survive. It's like termites, and termites are also these tiny little packets of protein that if reproductive termites were to be released one at a time, there'd be a bird sitting there taking them off until it was full, and then that would be replaced by another bird picking them off until it was full, and none would ever survive. And when the summer comes and we get thunderstorms, we're going to be watching our evening game drives, we will find this one day where we'll be able to watch thousands of winged termites starting to leave the nest, and there will be a lot of birds. It'll be in the afternoon even. Hundreds of birds of all types, and even small mammals, even lion I've seen. I've seen eagles hopping on the ground after termites. Everything loves them. But they fill up on them so much that there are enough of them that survive, that retain the integrity of the species and continue that particular niche in nature to provide that function in nature. Anyways, let's move on. There might be something here. But we're not going to go far. We're going to do a few loops. We're looking for signs of elephant. Bree. Hello, Bree. Has anyone ever seen animals giving birth on drive? I think yes, some guides have been lucky. I've never. I mean, in all my life, pretty much most of my life being in the bush, sadly never had the luck of finding an animal giving birth. But I think some people have. And I'm talking about impala and how they give birth en masse, how in the summer months, within a few week period, all these impala start dropping their lambs. It seems like it's impossible to miss a birth, but well, you can. I have, I guess. All the thousands of elephants that I've lived with, you would think that having seen elephants on a daily basis for most of my life, that I'd be lucky enough to be in a position to witness a birth. I haven't. Some things you have to wait for something, and some things come to you when well, one day I'll be lucky. I think we'll take Vulture's Nest. I haven't seen any sign of that herd of elephant coming across this way. Heading back north again. They were heading south. So I'm looking something way across the other side. Just a dark shape. I thought it might be an elephant. Sorry, Becky. I don't know if you can see. It almost looks like a patch of sunshine. There's it. Thanks, Seb. Put that under my hat. Seb had to step out of FC for a minute. He was kind of breathless coming back into FC, saying he just bumped into Karula in our car park. So let's go and see if we can. Just going towards the lodge. Let's go back towards the lodge. I don't like the weather anyway. What I mean is that it's getting pretty grey. Alarm calls. Oh, it's a Dacre. Something else being alarming the birds. hereditary. Yeah. Hello, Ed. Nice to hear from you, Ed. What makes a species stronger is passed on. What makes it weaker is weeded out. Very much so, and that is the premise behind the success of a species. If a species has a weak, if an individual, but it's not. Yes, it is that, but it's not only that. There's so many other influencing factors. I mean, when you look at climate, and you look at weather, and you look at things like let's take a simple example. Take a simple example of producer organism, consumer 1, consumer 2, which is predator. Grass, mouse, owl. I like using that example because it doesn't take generations to see differences. It doesn't take forever to see how it can change. And in a good summer, you have good grasses, provides good seed, it provides good food for mice. They have a higher success rate in breeding, or rather a higher survival rate, and therefore there's more of them around. And there are more of them around, the owls can, well, let's take the barn owl. The barn owl can feed and raise more chicks. So the barn owl becomes successful, and so the barn owl population expands accordingly. Hidden into all of that, yes, hidden in all of that succession, or whatever, that food chain, is the fact that if you look at the mouse on an individual level, a small rodent that eats grass seed, within that population, there's a variety, there's a diversity of the gene pool that allows for adaptation under different conditions. If it's favorable conditions, there's a particular section of the gene pool that survive and breed, and so they pass on those genes for that particular condition. However, there's still the retention of the gene for them to survive in unfavorable conditions. And because the climate is constantly changing, suddenly you might get a drought, and the population of mice might suddenly, because it's dry conditions, that population, or that sector of the population that has the gene for coping with drought conditions tends to proliferate. And so that becomes maybe a dominant gene, but it's never going to stay the same, because there will be a wet year and then it'll swing over. And that is what keeps the gene pool in a relatively heterogeneous state. That there are extremes to the gene pool, but the bulk of the population is in the middle. And it's the changes in the environment, and it's those hardships that are thrust upon the species that either favor the one end of the gene pool or the other, and invariably conditions switch around. That I wish I was a professor to be able to explain this better, but when conditions are reversed, it reverses the sector of the population that has favorable genes, and that in itself keeps the bulk of the population in the in the generic zone, in that middle zone. So some of it has got to do with, if you can cope with changes in your environment, you survive, and if you can't cope with the changes in the environment, you die off. You become food for something. And part of it has got to do with, if you carry a trait to be able to cope for that particular time, for that particular climatic condition, you'll do good. Genetics, the quest for survival, or rather the fight for survival, the survival of a species, the integrity of a species, the way a species actually has evolved and eventually become what it is today, is a remarkable thing to study. But it is constantly changing, so in a few generations time, in a few hundred years time, things are going to be completely different. It's a very interesting subject. And oh, there goes the greenback heron, I missed it. Coming back across the dam wall, we can maybe see the Heimerkop again, because I didn't name it earlier. And it's not going to show us its hammerhead, because it's not hunting, it's tucking in on the leeward side of the dam wall, preferring not to do too much today in the cold grey wind. Take one. Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins, a genius in genetics. Mind-boggling reading and interesting listening, because now you can listen to some of Richard Dawkins' lectures and talks. York University. We're going to go back to the open area near camp. We're going to have a look around for prey species there, because maybe okay, we're actually going to go through Texan, come in. Tex, are there any guests in the camp? What does that mean, yes or no? Only 2 clicks means yes. Will you tell her come in? Have any guests in camp still?
No, there's no guest.
Okay, thanks. Hello, Dave. Hello. It is Connecticut. Or it is Connecticut. I don't know how this works. Maybe that. Juma. Seb saying he's also struggling. Let's take the lid off. Okay, sorry, we got new water bottles, nice. Rather than those blue plastic things. Hey Jakob, Karula's supposed to be here somewhere. Yeah. Supposed to be. Well, she was coming this way. Seb said she was coming this way. So we're going to look for her. I think we'll take a drive down into the lodge parking lot. People walking around this time of day. Staff are up and down. A lot of Impala here, so this is where we're going to just sit for a while, because if she was coming this way, these Impala are all spread out with some water buck, relaxed. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so that means probably down towards the car park of the lodge. She might come around this way. I'll keep an eye out. She lost her kill to a hyena last night. She's probably not happy about it. The children are probably hungry. And with all these animals spread out here, who knows? She's a very patient girl, that she knows what she's doing. There's a lot of staff walking around. She walked from FC, so she was walking towards, or I suppose in a way, towards the rooms of FC. Karula. Anyways, Deb in Connecticut was asking, do only the male impalas have horns, or do the females also have horns? No, only the males. Deb? Only the males. No. Talking about the impala, males and females. Oh shit. Vanilla England. Yeah, from Jess's house. Shush. Yeah. It's coming this way. Ladies are collecting wood for the fire tonight. Let's go up this hill. Go and have a look up this little pathway that goes up to the staff village. I've seen in Duna here a lot. Just there. Yeah. Hello, Drongo. Where's the leopard? This is a fork-tailed drongo, related to the flycatchers, but an incredible little bird. It's a wonderful acrobat and a master mimic. So to our left is where our camp is, through these bushes. To my right is where the lodge is, where we've just come from. She was coming from our camp to the lodge. But that was, I guess if she was walking, she might have gone down to room 8. So her cubs are also now, her cubs are to our left where our camp is. Room 8 is directly in front of us. There's this big patch of bush between, that we're looking at now in front of us, is this big patch of bush between our camp and the lodge. So she could be anywhere in there. The thing is, if all those impala and waterbuck and things are on the other side, that's a good place for her to start, actually. She's looking for something to feed the cubs. Hello Gail, wanting to know how the baboons get into the rooms, get into the minibar, and to get to the guest stuff. What they're getting in the minibar are the fruit juices, not necessarily the whiskey. Heather, I think Shelley's out of hospital already, but there's, again, Heather's flower. Brighten up your room for a minute. The Impala Lily. I'm only here for a leopard. They rip the doors open, Gil. Today they ripped the glass sliding door out of its hinges. That's how strong they are. They don't look big. And I think you have to remember, I don't think there's a big male with them because Tankman passed away. So I don't know. They've just got this super primate strength. Try something different. There's Nyala here in camp. Take you for a ride into the camp. Not much happening on a cloudy day. That's why we're looking for a leopard that's prowling near the camp. Just have to emphasize for those of you who are watching that guests are escorted to and from their cabins, their rooms. He has a huge Nyala bull right in the middle of camp. Got his hair on the ridge of his back standing up. No. I just made sure there are no guests in camp. Hello Roma. Roma's asking about Floppy Ear the hyena. There wasn't, but I don't know. Also, there's more Nyala down there. Roma, Seb, I don't know if that was her. It's another ear that's floppy. But
We did see a floppy ear hyena yesterday at the den. Could have been her. I've never been here in my entire life. And this is going up to Remain. About as far as we can go. Can't find anything here. Can't find anything. Hello, Laurie. We'll get you in a minute. This Roma, I don't know which hyena or where a hyena was killed by lion recently. I'm afraid I don't know anything about that. Not going to turn around here very easily. So, another way. But yes, there was a floppy-eared hyena seen at the den suckling the other day, one of the older cubs. Might have been. Well, we tried. But I would like to show you though, on our way out. Again.
Seconds to countdown. Standing by for an altitude. Pictures looking good. Sound is good. Stand by for the countdown. Five, 4, 3.
Is that all on, you know? Oh, we're back. I'm tugging on wires and doing all sorts of things. Can't understand why we lost picture. Anyways, now we can show you the rubbing post. It's still in the lodge. Oh, okay. Maybe when we turn the camera to the side, we lose picture. That's what hasn't cut back to. Okay. Well, we've come back to you. I don't know why we lost picture. I was looking at the antenna, I was looking at all sorts of things, but kind of clueless about a lot of this. But somehow we have come back. Just to our right, before we leave the lodge, is an interesting little place called the rubbing post. The squirrel there. That's the therapy room. Beauty treatments and therapy and things. Massage. You might be in front of the camp. Anyway, well, we tried. Maybe we'll see you on the way up. Laurie wanted to know if we'd keep the camera rolling if we witnessed a kill. Yes, Laurie, we would. I know they're sensitive viewers, and I know we'd probably get some flack for it, as we have done when we have witnessed kills. But that's what we are here for. We are a camera driving through some African wildlife areas, or an African wildlife area. What happens here has been happening for millions of years. This is not a preserve, although it's called a game reserve. It's not a preserve, it's not a self-contained safari park where animals are fed and cared for. This is wild Africa the way it is, as wild as it has been since time began. We are just this little community of humans that happens to live here and show it to the world. The guinea fowl here, so she definitely hasn't come this way. If anything, she's gone on the other side, maybe even the other side of the dam again. So, let's see. Let's go around the open area. We'll go down Mbubu Road or something. I'm determined to cover all our bases. So definitely we will keep the cameras rolling. It's hard sometimes for the camera person to film it. The animals have all moved off from here. They were here a few minutes ago. Suddenly they were gone. As if she made an attempt while we were there. They all moved onto the open area, these impala and waterbuck. Yes, when you're watching nature and you're trying to learn from nature and you're trying to understand the workings of life in general, the fact that you've got to put the fact that you're a human and you've got feelings and everything else in your pocket, and you've got to look at it from an objective point of view. You've got to just look at it as this is how nature works. And it's hard sometimes to see nature that way, raw nature. I think maybe let's go Gallagher shortcut. Or maybe Hello, Thomas in Pennsylvania. Saying, considering Karula fed on an impala kill last night, when will she need to hunt again? Sorry. She evidently would need to hunt again now. I have no idea how much she fed on that carcass. There was also the fetus that she pulled out of that carcass. I don't know if she fed on that. The problem is that it was stolen from her last night. She might have had enough time to feed on it somewhat, but the hyenas took it away from her, and she could very well be on the hunt again tonight. There is no set period. There's nothing in nature. Oh, I don't know how to explain this, but I understand where your question's coming from, Thomas. She could hunt again tonight. She could go the next week without being able to hunt or being able to provide a decent meal, only catching francolins and guinea fowls. The thing is that it's not like us humans that have specific meal times, or for our pets for that matter, that there's specific meal times. Sorry, just got to put a jersey on. Specific meal times that maybe some animals have, or our domestic animals have. In the wild it's different. In the wild, because most of it is opportunism, you eat when you can, and you eat as much of it as you can. One of the reasons why leopard normally take their kills up a tree. Karula, I think, does tend to get a little bit lazy with taking her kills up a tree. I think she probably loses a lot more kills than the average leopard because she doesn't. Maybe, I don't know what the circumstances were last night. I don't know how much of her kill that she had eaten or how much of it she lost. But she could very well easily hunt again today. I very much doubt whether she managed to get the two youngsters fed last night, which compounds it considerably in that she has to not only hunt for herself, but she's got to hunt for them too. And they're opportunists. When the opportunity arises, they'll make an attempt at a kill. We've seen her make an attempt the other day. They miss more than they're successful, and every time they miss, they've got to conserve some energy to try again. Wow. Really weird weather. Thanks, Rosie. And hello, Doris. Some mention of the smaller animals that leopard may hunt. Well, there are a number of rodent species that we have. There are a number of bird species that leopard would go for. But leopard are not fussy. And leopard will just as easily snack on a few grasshoppers at times of trouble. I mean, there are also a bunch of reptiles as well. I mean, leopard are known to go for snakes, even large snakes like python. Odd leopards been known to go for young crocodiles. So I guess you could say that almost anything smaller than a leopard would go for. Of course, then we get into the larger mammals when we get into sort of impala size and things that are larger, and at times maybe a leopard would even go for something twice. Here, baboon tracks going back towards. We didn't see them. I was hoping to see them, but anything a leopard size and smaller, leopards can go for and will go for and can subsist on. I mean, there's some leopards that live in parts of Africa or southern Africa that don't really have that much access to medium-sized and larger prey items. They live in the mountains. They feed on mostly smaller prey species. I don't know if that's what you were asking. I hope so. But also greetings to Felicity via Sarah. Thanks, Sarah. I did get your email this morning. Felicity is hoping to be part of our school program. I'll tell you something about that. What it is using this medium not only to educate adults but also to get through to some youngsters. And to do so, or in doing so, connecting with the school anywhere in the world. Obviously it's going to be important to have a classroom that speaks English, and Seb, I'm sure we'll be able to maybe connect with a French classroom. Maybe, I don't know how that'll, we'll have to discuss that, how that'll work. Or a French class, maybe somehow I don't know why we're losing picture in such close proximity to the tower. But anyways, yes, Felicity, school program, we're hoping to connect with classes so that I can have one-on-one with kids in a classroom live. While they're in class, we can do a half an hour to an hour, however long it is, but especially being able to connect with the teacher and being able to get some idea of what the curriculum it is, what maybe the students are learning, or what maybe subjects that I can cover. As you can see, I can't guarantee seeing certain animals, but we can talk about anything, and examples of things. I can show you what I can find. Obviously we will take into account that we are concentrating on a particular class and whatever age group they are, and I mean, if we're not going to be with predators hunting if we're with a classroom for half an hour. So I will be very careful of what our content will be. Those are the only times that I will do so. I mean, kids can watch this anytime. We're a family channel. We try and be, and I was exposed to wildlife from a very young age. I was exposed to the brutality of nature from a very young age. I accepted it because I understood that it was nature, because I had parents that helped me understand that that is what happens in nature. And I would expect that that kind of honesty and that kind of openness would be appreciated by youngsters no matter how old they are. Hello, zebra. I saw these zebra here 2 days ago. Or was it this morning? They're going back to Back to the open area, back to quarantine open area. Sorry, Becky, they're not easy to see. But the idea is to have a classroom that is able to view the drive, say on a large screen with a projector would be ideal, or a large screen TV hooked up to a computer, that would be ideal. And then have a teacher have a laptop or a separate computer that the teacher can ask the questions on behalf of certain pupils. And that would be important to have kids' names mentioned, that I could say hello to individual children who have asked questions. Not necessarily children, let's call them students or learners, because it's any age group really. So far I haven't seen any tracks of those elephants moving to the west. Take this road called Elephant Skull back to the east. I must have gone, oh, what's this? Zebra rolling here in the dust. Let's see if we can. Wow. We're on Elephant Skull Road and there are a few dips here that might be a little bit iffy with regard to signal. But Megan was asking, and that's a very good question. Megan, really, will Karula take her cubs to every kill, or will proximity of the kill to the cubs determine whether she takes them to the kill or not? Now, it's not a very easy question to answer, because we don't get to see her every kill. But I would imagine, having seen her, this is a dip, hang on a second. Hopefully signal's good still, but we've seen her take her cubs a fair distance to a kill, so I would imagine that instead of, in some cases when a kill is far away, I would say that maybe she would feed on it some before she goes and fetches the cubs, as opposed to maybe a kill close by. But that is a very good question. It's something that maybe we should maybe look at a little bit closer. In terms of trying to find some answers. I don't think we could find an easy answer to that question. We would have to watch her every kill, and she's a mother, she's got to feed her cubs. I would imagine that she does take her cubs to every kill, no matter how far it is. The thing is, I don't think that she would go hunting that far away, that it would be too far to go and fetch her cubs. You've got to take into consideration that if she was to make a kill very far away from her cubs, she's got the danger of that kill being... There's fresh rhino dung here in the road, these big black spots. We saw those rhinos leaving that dung this morning. But if she she's got to make kills within her territory that are comfortable for her, or that make her confident enough that another leopard is not going to come along and steal that kill. It's one thing you've got to consider, because there were more rhino here. Our rhino went that way. These rhinos, it's a different rhino that came this way. But if she were to make a kill on the edges of her territory, they're likely to be close enough to the other territories of other leopards that they can get taken by other leopards. So I think it's a case of she's probably not that likely to make a kill very far away from where she leaves her cubs, for fear of not finding it when she returns. Just a good question. It brings up a lot of questions, a lot more questions. Not a question that can be answered very easily. Elephant dung here, not very fresh. Hello Terry. Do some cats hunt for the sport of it? Not in a natural environment, no, not Terry. There's too much at stake to waste energy. Plus, they're not really ever in a situation where they can just kill randomly like they could if they were, say, in a herd of goats or cattle or sheep, domestic animals that didn't even know what was going on. So no, it doesn't really happen in the wild. There's the energy dynamics that are involved in hunting, missing the hunt and having to save energy to try again, plus the amount of energy that is put back into the body after catching something and eating it. It's too critical to be for the likes of a cat to be frivolous about killing something. Like 9 times out of 10. There are always exceptions, and I'm sure you might find examples to prove me wrong. In fact, it's nature. So almost in everything that I say about nature, you will find examples to prove me wrong, because that's the very nature of nature. Nothing is written in stone. And what is written in books is but a fraction of what really goes on. So from my point of view, and from what I know of animals and how things work in nature, there's so much energy output in a hunt that if an animal is going to hunt something and kill it, it's going to have to feed on it. So it's not for the sport of it. It's for food. It's serious business. It's to survive. Because it doesn't know where the next meal is coming from. But also, the success rate in hunting is so low that, and as I say, there's so much energy output in a hunt that there's no free energy going around, that a predator can just hunt something, or rather just kill something and not have to feed on it. But do remember, I said that there are always exceptions to the rule. Never seen those exceptions when it comes to hunting frivolously. Hello Cindy. Cindy's new at this. Welcome Cindy. I was asking I'm stopping her because I need to answer this question right here where we are without moving. Can't move another inch until I answer this question. Cindy was asking if, looking at Djuma Waterhole, if we ever have crocodiles at Djuma Waterhole. And we've had, this last summer we had a resident crocodile at Djuma Waterhole. We had a resident crocodile here too. This is Twin Dams. We've just been past Twin Dams. This is our southern boundary, this big road we're on now, or coming up to now. And just across from us is a little place called Baboon Pan. And this very little road that we're on that goes to the main road, we have often seen crocodile tracks here on this road. There's a young crocodile that was living around here that would move from this pan to Twin Dams, and we'd often see its tracks here on the road. But the water is receding, the dry season now, and these crocodiles have gone to bigger bodies of water. This Baboon Pan is almost dried up, and well, they move on to more permanent waters because these seasonal dams have a tendency of drying up at times if there are no rains. And these crocodiles know that, so they go back to maybe the river, the main Sand River, which is downstream southwest, or maybe they go to one or two of the other big dams that are in the area. And hopefully we'll have some crocodiles coming back when the rains come in summer. With a little bit of luck. Okay, so doesn't look like we're having any luck here with our pachyderms. Let's go. I suppose we could have gone Leadwood Road. No, I want to go up the drainage line. Hopefully we'll have a signal, but I'm going to go up the Mulwatchie River. Elephants might be down there out of the wind. I said really bad comms down here. Please can you spell the name for me? Got the question. Oh, Heather. Pennsylvania. Florida, Heather. Hello. Heather in Florida. Interesting question. Welcome to our drive. And what do we got here? Predator Dung. Old, very old. Hope we're going to get signal down here. Should do. If not, I'll come back up here to answer the question. But Heather was saying, if the baboons can take off a sliding door, what stops them from coming in your room at night? Well, Heather, a number of things stop them from coming in. First of all, the most important thing to remember is baboons are not active at night. Baboons are very timid animals at night. They're afraid of the dark. Baboons climb into trees at sunset. They sleep in those trees during the night, and there's not very much that can get a baboon out of its tree at night because they don't have very good nocturnal vision, and they are vulnerable at night. They're like us, being primates, they're vulnerable at night. That's why they sleep in trees. During the day, however, there's nothing stopping a baboon from breaking into the room. Nothing at all. And sometimes, you see, unfortunately, it all comes from either people feeding them or they just get too bold. Oh, there's a Nyala bull moving through the drainage line. But it becomes impossible. The best thing is to just not keep food in rooms. They soon learn that without food, or when there's no food in the rooms, there's no reason to break in. Where are you going, Mr. Nyala? try. Steep incline, idle up it. Dr. Rita was a leopard killing a python here at Djuma, which leopard. There was a time about maybe 2 years ago, the boys were younger, a lot younger. And Induna had about a 6-foot python. But there have been many cases of leopard killing python, not necessarily here at Djuma, but just recorded cases of pythons and leopards. Yes, I wasn't on drive, unfortunately. I was on leave. I think Patrick saw it. Patrick, who used to be here with us, one of our presenters. Lots of deep holes in the sand here where elephants dug for water. Oh, there's a bushbuck. Little female bushbuck. Can't really see her stripes much. They're a little bit more stripy when they're young and they've got more spots on. She's just a really dark. See some of her spots on her rump. She's the smaller cousin of the Nyala. And we've seen a few of them lately. We can go for months without seeing bushbuck, especially in the summer months. We're not likely to see bushbuck because it's so dense and green. Actually, there's a young male. And not so young, he's actually quite a beautiful male. But I need to move a few inches forward because it's behind the spike thorn for Becky. He's coming down. There. It's a magnificent antelope, known as the prince of the forest. Very pretty. Now she's in the open in the riverbed. Tend to live in thick bush. They tend to live in small family groups, male and female and offspring maybe. Not quite like the groups of the Nyala, which can live in more open ground. But being an animal that lives in the bush, they tend to favor being solitary or in pairs. Come, little boy, come down into the sand as well. Follow the female. It's coming. This is a secret of antelopes. It's quite special that we can view them like this. Yes. Look at that. Isn't that better than elephants? No, not much better than Janet. Sorry, Janet. I did promise. No, I didn't use the word promise. I did say I was going to look for the elephants, and I have been. I was sidetracked a little bit looking for Karula, but we are now looking for the elephants. We are in the process of off she goes. Or maybe she just ran away from him. But Janet's saying it's getting dark. She's sure I'm a man of my word. And I'm supposed to find you elephants, Janet. Can't go anywhere. I've got bushbuck in the road in front of me in the river. A pair of bushbuck at that. And he's a handsome young fella. almost full grown. His horns will get a little bit longer than that. You'll notice his horns are very similar to that of the male Nyala. A little bit of a spiral. This is going to be interesting because if she's in estrus, he might tap her with his front legs, and she might just play hard to get. Not might, is playing hard to get. So he'll pretend to graze for a while, keep his eye on her, taking a few steps closer every now and then, and she takes a few steps further away. She'll flirt by flicking her tail, turning her head sideways. Monkey orange Alan. Is that a subtle hint, a little subtle reminder to find a monkey orange, Alan? Hi there, Alan. Oops, Alan, King Alan. We're going to move along, find some elephants. We're watching a documentary. Alan was watching a documentary about baboons. Leopards, Dead Tree Island. Dead Tree Island is an interesting place in Botswana, in the Okavango Delta. Very interesting place. But there's a documentary about the conflict between leopard and baboon, I believe, on Island, where a troop of baboon with 4 big males seriously intimidate the leopards. Alan wants to know if I've seen this. Can I discuss that? Sorry, girl. She goes up the embankment. Just relax, girl. I'm coming through. You can. She's just browsing quietly. I'm just going to keep the same idling speed coming through. She's on the top. Sorry, little boy. You know, bushbuck are known to turn on their attackers, those horns, those stiletto horns that they have. Even hunters have been gored by bushbuck. Still got a bit of growing to do. So, bye-bye, little boy. Go back to your lady. The rhino was sleeping here. Rhino dung and rhino. So, where was I? Yes, Alan, there are cases of baboon turning on leopard, especially cases where there are large enough troops with big enough males. I haven't witnessed it personally. I've witnessed leopard being intimidated enough by baboon that they turn around and they slink off and they disappear, but I haven't really witnessed physical conflict. I've seen leopard go after baboon and miss. Seen lion catch baboon, lion go after baboon and miss. But yes, it's an interesting phenomenon that large male baboon is a formidable force for a leopard. The baboon will have longer canines than the leopard, probably jaw muscles just as strong, arm muscles just as strong, with the added ability of grabbing that a leopard, I mean a leopard will have its claws, but a baboon can hold little, oh, there's a little striped kingfisher that was just flown away. Penny, hello Penny and Bobby. Penny saying much the same, they're doing much the same as we're doing this evening. Yesterday was a wonderfully hot day, we were sitting around in t-shirts last night. Beautiful day yesterday, today the winter woolies come out again. Almost like Cape weather. Trying, Janet, I'm trying to find where they went to. They came down the drainage line from Gowrie Dam. Maybe they went up towards Buffels of Cutline. Maybe they went to Buffels of Cutline, maybe they went north again. Felicity in New York, I think it was. Please get in touch with me, let me know what age group you're teaching, what it is you're teaching, and let's work it out that we can connect with your classroom. Elephant on Buffels this evening, or this afternoon, but I don't think it's the same group. Update for Western Gowrie. You're right, Janet, it's getting dark. It's time to find those elephants. Where could they have gone? I haven't found their tracks, so We know they haven't gone south and they haven't gone west. They have to go and look to the east now. So it's a long way to complete this block in the east. South. Bunch of oxpeckers. Right, we'll get there. Might be rhino, might be buffalo. Oh, no, we didn't have signal. Doing it yesterday. Seems to be the afternoon. I was also thinking, well, weather, but I was doing it yesterday with you as well, Seb. In places where we shouldn't have been getting breakup. More or less straight up. It's not leaning over, but it's leaning a little bit. It does play a bit of a role. Ooh. Getting grayer. Pull the aerial straight up a little bit, see if we get a picture, then we'll know whether it's aerial or not. Pardon? If he's not taking a picture with the link straight, that's not.
Seconds to countdown. Standing by for last picture. Picture's looking good. Sound is good. Stand by for the countdown. 5, 4, 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, we're not too sure what's happening. Signal seems to be pretty down. Mark and Becky are busy trying to reboot the whole equipment, the camera and the modulator and everything. So we're doing a big reboot there, and Mark drove to an open area to get a better signal, but I still don't have any picture on my side. So let's see what happens after a reboot, and if we're getting picture back, then I will obviously cut back straight to him. So please stay tuned, and hopefully, I'm sure we'll get a signal back in very shortly. Just for now.
So you take us to countdown? Standing by for an altitude. Pictures looking good. Sound is good. Stand by for the countdown. 5,
Welcome
4,
everyone.
3.
We tried rebooting the system, it didn't help. I've just been driving on Central Road back towards the lodge, and hopefully that's been one of the reasons why we've been able to come back to you. Other than that, there's not much else that we've changed. But we're actually getting to lower ground, and we were on very high ground, so I couldn't quite imagine why you lost us, why we lost you. I've been looking for elephants. I've still not found any sign of them. Getting dark early tonight with all this cloud. A lot of birds alarming off to our left. Could be something in the grasses. There's a drongo there. Birds have all gone deeper in. There definitely must have been something large, because the birds have moved with whatever it was deeper into the bush. There was a serval seen not too far from here a few days ago. Could be that serval. possible. Hello, Mike. Mike Moss, California. Been traveling again, Mike. Asking about bushbuck spots. Are they unique? And do the young imprint on the mother like zebra? Very much so. Subtle differences between different bushbuck spots. Might have the same number of spots, but they might be configured differently. But yes, there is a uniqueness to each one of them. And well, the imprinting process that takes place with all mammals is more than a visual thing. It's got to do with sight and sound and smell and taste and a number of factors that are involved in young animals imprinting on their mother. But the appearance does play a big role in that. That's why it sometimes takes a lot longer for that visual imprint to take hold. There they are. Found you your elephants. I'm just looking at the tracks now. They've just crossed Central Road. And they are there. I can hear them. There's still a youngster shouting. So just before it gets dark, finally found the elephants. Let's go Nyala Road North. They've been here. I suppose I should have come here first. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but didn't. Instead we went the long way round. We would have been drinking water, this surface water. They did about a 270-degree turn. They were heading south and now the tracks are all heading north again. Slightly different angle, northeast. This is Nyala Road North. I'm hoping I heard them. I know they're here, their tracks are here. Here's their dung. Just drove over some sticks they left in the road. Hello Ed, ever seen oxpeckers on lions? Seen lots of ticks on them, one would think, but no. They're predators, they're cats, they're able to swat an oxpecker and eat it. Probably because they're predators, that one is not going to see oxpeckers on the lion. Somewhere in here. I don't know if we're going to get to them. Not going into that thicket off-road in the night, in the dark. Elephants won't appreciate that very much. We're going to stop and listen again now, just before we go into this dip. There are no more tracks on the road, but there might be down in the drainage line. Jackalberries are changing colour, they're going yellow. Because they're going to lose their leaves and get new ones soon. Right, well, we're going to keep going up Nyala Road North and then maybe go back towards Guaripan. They're in that very big block. They haven't come this far north yet, I don't think. We'll see now as we go through the riverbed, but the noise was coming from back to the right. When we were on Central Road, it was in there off to my right now. And a lot of tracks as far as Nyala Road North. Old Don here. But now that we're down in the dip, they might have been moving through drainage line out of the wind. No, I think they're heading east. We'll go up onto Guaripan Road, maybe if we're lucky. There we will find them. I know where they are, just can't get there. Terry was asking. Terry was asking about rabies. Animals, yeah, Terry. Rabies. Have I ever seen a rabid animal? I don't know, I don't think I've seen a rabid animal. I haven't seen an animal behaving as though it has rabies, but then it might not show any typical behavior. But yes, there are animals that carry rabies. There are also efforts to eradicate it, to keep it under control by inoculating animals. And the process by which they do that is darting them with a vaccine. Inoculate, vaccinate. Vaccinate. Anybody tell me the difference between vaccinate and inoculate? Colder than yesterday. They don't have jackets to put on, so they go into thicker bush where they can get out of the wind. Listen again. Is that a branch break?
Yeah, I think so.
That wasn't far ahead, that's just here. Luann in Pennsylvania. Adult water buffalo prey to any animal. Probably tigers. I don't know, maybe tigers eat adult water buffalo. I'm not really familiar with water buffalo. But I'm being silly now because I know you mean African buffalo. Maybe they're in this drainage line now. There. Is that a grey bush or an elephant?
So hard to tell on the way.
Is that a grey bush or an elephant?
There's definitely noise straight in front of us.
That looks like a grey bush, and there's three places that look like grey bushes or elephants. No, that's starting to look more like a grey bush, unless the elephant moved on. Look for trees shaking, but it's windy. That won't work. There's the grey shape that looks like an elephant. Remember, I'm saying they look like elephants, they're not necessarily. That grey shape definitely is an elephant. There they are, down here in the drainage line. I made it, Janet, just before dark. There are the two little ones, one little one. The matriarch and the little one. Okay, it's kind of dark, it's not the best time of day to see elephants, but we have caught up with them finally. Through all my distractions and finding where they weren't. Well, that's how it works. You have to look for their tracks. You have to look for where they have either headed to. The most logical place to start was where they were headed. And that's often the last place they will be. See if we can just get another view. There's one and Mom are down there in the drainage line. There's some other youngsters on the other side. Go down here maybe. Can't stay long, it is getting dark. So, where was I? Before I get to Linda. Hello Linda. Pepperbird Linda. Where was I? Where are you going, Mama? Hiding behind these little tambutis. Other bank though, there's a youngster on the other bank. I'm going to roll forward because it's got a beautiful expression on its face. We're missing because the eye is moving. Oh, silly little boy. We're sort of doing a mock charge type thing. Okay, my brain's backed up a little bit. Before I get to Linda, I just wasn't sure if I finished it other whatever else I was saying. But Linda was asking about, thanks for the flower. The flower earlier was the Impala lily, the pink and white, also known as the Sabi star, and desert rose. Okay, now I can go forward a bit more. See those little boys. There's another female down here with a calf. Maybe we just sit. Linda was also asking if the wild orchids are flowering yet. No, not yet, Linda. We're waiting for that. Keeping my eye on them. And then also was asking about my little tamboti tree. It's just coming into leaf. Its new leaf buds are bursting out. So I'm hoping it's going to recover quite well. It's actually time for me to repot it now as its leaves are coming out. And maybe remove some dead root material, maybe just trim the roots a little bit. It's very steep below us. There's another female, and I can see at least three youngsters down there in front of us. I'm hoping she's going to come around to this female that we're watching now. Slowly, yep, she's coming around. Come on, come into the open. Oh, Leanne's, no, what was Leanne's? Laura. Oh, yeah. Hello, Laura. Question about the temporal glands of the elephant, when they start secreting liquid under stress. When they're very young they will start. I don't know what age it is, but way before puberty. Still when they're calves they can still get stressed enough. That's not much of a view. Let's see what we can do about that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. This is not going to be good because it's going to put us on such a slope because of the termite mound, but maybe just to say goodbye to the little one, two little ones across the drainage line. Hello, Glynis in Cape Town. not a subject that I really want to talk about on air, but Glynis,
There's a hyena behind it.
hyena behind her. Wait, there. The floppy ear. What, you think I'm with a leopard? See Land Rover off-road, come look for leopard. Is that what it is? Sniffing around. Hello, Mrs. Hyena. Not floppy ear. But Glynis, I think maybe I can email you, talk to you about that. It's a bit controversial subject. Mostly because I don't have answers what you're asking. Just you have to consider a lot of camps, a lot of places in Africa that have guests visiting. Question is, the subject is dealing with animals that come, potentially harmful animals that come into the camp, and how they have been dealt with in other places. Bye, children. It's getting dark. We found them, and I'm happy for now. 2 days time, I can spend more time with them or others if they're still around or others come in. That's interesting. Vaccinate with the live virus, inoculated with the dead one. Thanks, Glynis. So Glynis was asking, referring to some incidents where leopards have been removed from camps in Kruger using harsh methods, and Karula, what would happen if she posed a threat. I don't know what would happen. I don't know how. I doubt whether they would consider relocation. I don't think it would be necessary. Humans have to learn that when you have places like this and you're in nature, you let nature take its course. Nature wants to come into your camp, you let it. You behave accordingly, you react accordingly. It's not going to live there forever. Oh, more elephant up ahead. We need an gone off road. That might be another little boy. We were at the back of the herd. Looks like most of the herd, the rest of the herd is up here. That's who I heard shouting earlier. Says I spread out there. Can you brighten it up there, but your best.
The shutter speed goes down to 25.
That might be right for now. Change brightness. Wonder if that helps if you change brightness on the screen. Not really.
On that monitor, I think.
A little bit helps on the monitor. Hello, boys. See, he turned his head and said hello. Deb, how often does a female ellie come into estrus? Estrus cycle of elephant. Accessing file. File not found. Gee, it's stuck under all sorts of other things. Can't really remember. If she conceives, she won't come into estrus again. But if she doesn't conceive, don't know. Deb, I'll have to look it up again and get back to you. And there are about 5 years between birthing periods. She comes into estrus, she conceives, 22-month pregnancy. It's going to be at least 2 years before she's, at least 2 years I'd say, before she's in estrus again. After that, that makes it about 4 years. And then a 2-year pregnancy. 3 to 4 years, and then of 2-year pregnancy, so it's about 5 years between births, 5 or 6 years. Anyways, yeah, 3 to 4 years birth intervals, according to something that Seb's got. My calculation is about 5 years. Okay, 4 years, 5 years. That means they come into estrus shortly after giving birth. That can't be. Surely. Okay, it's dark. Let's go on, see who's coming out of their hiding holes in the dark here in Africa. Okay, that makes it more realistic now. Down to about there. Makes more or less what you can see. Bye bye, boys. Oh. Season's gratings to the gearbox. Another one there. All the little boys that are up here. Moms and children are down in the drainage line. The boys are being bold and adventurous. So, did I get to everybody's questions so far? Have I missed anything else? Have I answered adequately? Was a while ago. Bree in Texas earlier wanted to know what we do in between drives. That's a little personal, Bree. I don't know. Can I think I can let out some secrets, Seb? Secretly, we're a rock band and we do band practice. Don't you ever hear it on the Juma Waterhole mic? We kind of like this classic rock, cross indie rock, sort of African, West African funk. And Seb plays the iPod and I play the fool. No, okay, I don't know. What do? Well, we eat in between drives. We have breakfast at the end of drive, which is around 10ish. That can take a while depending on what we have. It can take 2 minutes if it's yogurt and muesli. And then before you know it, you turn around and it's lunchtime. And then you've got to have a grilled cheese or a tuna sandwich or a something sandwich. Because it's lunchtime. And you just finish lunchtime and you're about to do something and gee, it's time to get the vehicle out and get ready for drive. So you get ready for drive and we do drive and get back from drive and then it's time to do dinner and eat again. And you just get done doing dinner and it's, gee, look at the time, I better go to bed, I've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You go to bed and you go to sleep and you get up and you say, gee, look at the time, I better go out and drive, and the cycle starts again. A couple of hours to do emails and Facebook and a couple of personal things, and a couple of times, a couple of minutes to read a book. Put the feet up, have a little bit of a siesta after lunch. Need to, just to kick back and relax for a few minutes. Get centered for afternoon drive. Seb does a bit of editing from time to time. Becky does a lot of social networking, I think. I don't know, Becky will have to tell you what she does. Seb will have to tell you what he does. I'll have to tell you what I do. I've been working on trying to sort my computer out a lot lately. Found software that I've downloaded that has helped recover some things, but I think it does eventually have to go in hardware. I think maybe the hard drive, because it's just so slow and responsive. Spend a lot of time on that actually. Sometimes we watch a movie. I've started watching a BBC series again called BBC Life. Wonderful photography, just amazing stuff. What else? Work on the vehicle when it needs to be done. Do food orders, and then the food orders come and we have to put the food away. Take stuff out for dinner. One of those things that you're always doing something, nothing really that, well, I suppose in a way it's constructive, that all contributes to one constructive well-being, but you're always doing something, but time just keeps running out, and it's always suddenly it's time to do something else. What happens? I was talking about time a little while ago, how in my youth, seemed like the afternoon after school lasted forever until sunset. This whole afternoon to play after school. I don't want to disturb a hornbill sleeping. So 8 hours of the day is dedicated to you out there. 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. It takes, because we have to get ready, we have to get the vehicle out, and do all sorts of checks and put the equipment together, and the things to do before drive, the things to do after the drive, that make it a 4 hour, about 4, sometimes 4.5 hours. 4. Yeah. 5 hours before you can put the AM or the PM drive behind you and then move on to something else. So that can sometimes take, well, as I say, 8 to 9 hours a day, this game drive. And you'd say 8 or 9 hours is sleeping and a bit more than that. I don't know. Divide up the other 16 hours, 15. Hippos on the other side. We're at Buffelshoek Dam. Not much activity. Welcome to Djuma, Saturday afternoon. For us, Saturday afternoon for Europe. Saturday morning, or even, it could be even midnight if you're in Australia or the Far East. Amazing that we're in different times and we can all be together. My time. Six-ish time. Something in the road. Josie Jones, I'm in the bush baby. I was getting excited. That's why I went over that bump so quickly. Because it was just that sort of head height and a really big eye that I thought, oh, maybe it's a cat. Subject, Becky. Lego that's in here, that we'll get to see it again, it's moving much deeper in. That is gone. Did you see the eyes? I think the camera saw the eyes. If it was in the right angle you would see the eyes. Unfortunately for most of the animals, I will see the eyes because of the reflection coming back at me and not back at the camera. You have to put the light right in front of the camera for you to see it. Sometimes we can do that with a herd of impala or with lions. Speaking of lions, well, we're up on Buffelshoek Cut Line now, almost. We're on the fire break. We're going to Buffelshoek Cut Line and start heading back to the west and see if maybe catch a cat or two. Right down there, there's something big down there. They're bush babies. 2 bush babies down there. Not, see, they're primates. They're learning. two bush babies sit together and then they pretend to be one big animal. Well, see two big eyes instead of... Yeah, just on the side of the road now. You should be able to get them next to this dead leadwood. Right together, both of them. Baby. Baby bush babies. Juvenile. Hello children. Davina. Hello, Davina. Good shot there, Becky. Something moving through the grasses on our left as well. These are juveniles, two juveniles. About the size of a squirrel. These are actually primates. These are the smallest primates we have here in South Africa. They obviously have a nest nearby. Urinating now and wiping its feet in it and wiping the branch, and that way they know where they are. Somewhat of a territorial marking for adults, but I suppose as a youngster, by doing that and learning how to do it, it keeps track of where it's been and how to find its way home maybe. Or find its way around by being able to scent its parents' territory. Okay. Davina wants to know if I have any pets. No, Davina, no. I don't believe in having pets, especially, well, not in the bush. No. Pets, yes. I prefer to see them as four-legged. I don't like them, the word. You got to take. Lose me again, and I'll go back through the dip, but we'll come out the other side and see these two little ones again. I don't want to look at them again. We've had the light on them a bit. They're youngsters. Let's leave them be, but it'll be interesting to have a look around here during the see where there must be a hole in this. Have a look at these holes during the day. That's oh, look, hyena. please get picture back. Got no picture. I don't know. Are we live, Seb? Yes, I did. Did get it. I wasn't sure you were with us. I thought you lost us in the. I don't know if you got it, but I found a number, that dead leadwood that's in the dip. There are a number of potential holes for bush babies, but there's one that was about eye level with us. That was probably the hole that they came from, that their nest was in, those two youngsters. Anyways, yes, I'm just being reminded, but I would not have forgotten, and I was saving it for end of drive. Thanks for the reminder, Patty, though. I did mention it before. I spent quite a bit of time today, speaking of what we do in between drives. I was looking at different news reports from different TV channels along the North Carolina seaboard. There was some footage of some people, 8 people that were blown off or washed off of a pier, a jetty, because they went out to look at the storm. Well, what makes people do that? You got a pre-storm surge of like something like 7 and out onto the jetty and have a look at the storm. Anyways, then there was a reporter, a meteorologist, weather reporter. Hello, Impala. A meteorologist who was going to do this report on a beach also, North Carolina. Trying to think of where it was, but they've got these condos right on the beach, and well, the storm surge is eroding it at a rapid rate, and this huge wave came in and nearly took him out to sea. I mean, it was over his waist, and I have been trying to follow it on satellites. We are concerned about all of you on the East Coast. It should be hitting. There's that point in North Carolina, northern bit of North Carolina that comes out northeast. That seems to be where it's aiming for. Where it seems to be, it might be hitting landfall. I know that there are a couple of people. Roy is one of them. I think he's in the Outer Banks or something. It's one of those islands. We are thinking of you. I won't get sleep tonight, but even though it might be downgraded a little bit, it's hitting landfall with excessive winds, excess of 100 miles an hour, last I heard. So be safe. Elaine, good day. Illinois, but inland. We're just thinking of this. There've been 250,000. Get to Elaine in a minute. Just another thing that I'm just being just remembering now about discovering stuff about Irene. Come on, Irene. Really? But Irene has caused the evacuation of parts of Manhattan for the first time in something like decades. 250,000 people supposedly been evacuated from New York. Because even New York, now, if it doesn't turn away from the coast and it doesn't slow down, Irene's going to be saying hello to New York. Broadway. So, yes, anyways, the next question was, have you ever was the next question from, sorry, have to go again, Seb, slipped my mind, because my mind's still in hurricane mode now. When this, where's Elaine? Thanks, Seb. Elaine, when does spring begin, and is precipitation normal for this time of the year? Elaine, I think we could say that we're in spring. Theoretically, it's the first, look, there's a spike thorn a guarri in bloom. 1st of September really is like considered the first day of spring, but there are things blooming already. They flower. I saw a hibiscus flower this morning. We found spike-thorn flower this morning. The tambutis have almost finished flowering. We've got acacias in full bloom. I was telling you about the frog. I found a frog today. I haven't seen this type of frog, 2 years, and it was on my coral senesio's on the leaves, and I was taking a lot of photographs, and it's tiny. It's like the size of a reed frog, about the size of my fingernail, and it's bright green, bright green, gorgeous little frog. That's a sign of spring. The toads were calling as a sign of spring. There were termites flying last night. It's the size of genet cat. Not necessarily a sign of spring, but it's a genet cat nonetheless. It's gone deeper in. Just see it running away in the background. Gosh. Missed it. Another time, perhaps. Another bush baby. Bye-bye, bush baby. Bye-bye, bush baby. Oh, it's blackbird. That's right. No, blackbird. I was singing bye-bye, bush baby. But the words are bye-bye, blackbird. BB. Takekatatu. Can I tell you in 3 minutes? Clock is ticking. Stay with me at least till the dam. Let's get at least till the dam. Make up for the 3 minutes that we lost, 5 minutes we lost black screen. Got to drive that way anyway. Might as well. There's a scrubber in the road. Might as well stay with me. 1 or 2 minutes extra. Bye bye, scrubber. Don't run in the road, child. Precipitation was the other question about spring. We haven't really had any precipitation. Well, I guess you could say that during the morning that there is a moisture level, and I'd say yeah, it is fairly normal for this time. It's actually quite encouraging for this time of the year. It might mean that we will get some decent rains. We are in new moon. We're going into new moon. One of the reasons why we've got the kind of cloudy grey skies that we have, because it's a new moon. There might even be some precipitation tonight. Early spring, we sometimes, in the past, I know as a youth, we used to get 10 or 20 mils in the early spring just to keep things buzzing along. but sometimes it can take time before the first rains fall. I don't know if we can call the rain from 2 weeks ago. It was full moon. We had a good few millimeters. I don't know if we can really call that spring rain. Although it has perhaps hastened the onset of blooms and growing grasses. That's another thing. Green grasses coming through already from that bit of moisture that fell 2 weeks ago. I don't think anywhere in the world can really say much about normal weather. Nothing is normal anymore. I think we are starting to record new weather patterns. Whether that will, maybe this will become a pattern with some of these new weather phenomena that we are seeing. Maybe they will be the new weather patterns to go by for a number of decades, centuries. The world is an ever-changing thing. It is not meant to stay the same. We're not meant to have the same rainfall every year, the same conditions, the same times of the year. It's the changes in the weather that drive the diversity of life on Earth. Back here. Something swimming. Peace. Sorry. Peace. Okay, get off the damn wall and then time is up. Time is up. Thank you for joining me this wonderful Saturday, whether it's been your Saturday afternoon, or your Saturday morning, or your Saturday night. I don't think anybody's in Sunday yet. Could be, maybe Sydney. I don't mean Heather Sydney. I mean Sydney, Australia Sydney. But get some light on my subject. There's my subject in your screen. My name is Mark, your subject. And I will be seeing you, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow from Final Control. Becky's been on camera. Seb has been in Final Control. I'll be in Final Control tomorrow. Seb will be taking you out. And hope you're going to enjoy the drive with him. From all of us here at Djuma Game Reserve, goodbye, good night, and sweet dreams.
30 seconds to countdown.
Powering